What's going on YouTube? Card Collector 2 coming at you here with a brand new video. And today we are going to start something new. This is going to be collections, card shops, and collectors. A new series we're going to bring to you highlighting everything good the hobby has to offer. So I thought the first place we should start would be right here in Lexington, Kentucky at the Kentucky Roadshow shop. This shop is owned by a great friend of mine, Jimmy Mahan, who I've known in this hobby for a long time. Jimmy, if you know him, most of you I'm sure do, is really the best of the best in the hobby. He is really one of the best people I've ever met and has some of the coolest cards and coolest stories out there. So we're gonna go inside, take a look at what the Kentucky Roadshow shop has to offer, including some amazing signed memorabilia on display from Jimmy's personal collection, some hobby boxes, supplies, and where I got my idea for the card bar. So let's go inside, take a look, and see what they have to offer.
Popping on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. Popping on the west side, cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. I'ma blow today.
All right, guys, so we are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Jimmy Mahan. So Jimmy and I have been friends since 2015.
That's right.
Right? Got started in the hobby with, or started our friendship with a Julius Randle.
Still got it.
Immaculate collection patch
Still
on
got
it.
it.
So only right that we start here. Again, Jimmy's one of my, my hobby idols. I've been friends with him for a long time, and he's, like I said, Jimmy's one of the best people I've ever met and has some cool stories. So I'm really excited to show you guys what I've been able to witness over the years. So I think you guys will really enjoy this. But Jimmy, appreciate you having us.
Dude, always. It's really cool because all of this, where we are now, it's cool. It started out as dreams of us talking at the National and like hanging out at my house when you came down to Carolina when I was living there, and just firing ideas in that kind of iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another, like back and forth all the time, like what dreams. Now it was cool when you opened your shop. I went to your shop first to interview you on YouTube, and it's like, this is awesome. And we probably flipped places on hobby idols, and I love watching his stuff so much. Same thing, one of the best people ever. And it's just that back and forth. I just love it. I love when you come to town. You know that.
Appreciate you having us.
But family here. So
yeah, we'll let Jimmy talk for most of this, but we want to start with this. Jimmy will tell you. I'll let him get into this, but really, this place is special, and every little thing about this place is special.
Everything has significance here. Where I grew up 2 streets down from here, and played literally 2 streets down from here. So did Walker Bueller. He ended up a little better. I think I had 1 drag bunt single in my career. I had way more hot dogs than RBIs. But this was my neighborhood. This is where I was riding bikes around. This is where I was going to the fountain across the street and hanging out. Like, so I wanted to build the perfect thing. What would I have wanted as a kid? Yep. And so then been able to populate this store with my life, that's even more special. And then to say, well, I'm not gonna stop there. Like, what else can I do in here that would be beyond special and spark ideas among all the kids and other guys that come in here? Yeah. So that's kind of where we started. So
let's start over here, because I think this is cool. This is something I remember Jimmy talking about when we first met, was making tables out of boxes of cards. And I'll kind of let Jimmy explain where you got it.
So the old National Treasures boxes were wooden, and then like I said, everything. Like, this is a 2012 Final Four chair. Even the chairs you sit in here have something about it, Kentucky basketball, which is obviously our focus in this town. But so I was like, well, I have a handyman, Mel. My man Mel, who built the card bar and everything else, is the dude. Like, he is the GOAT with a hammer and nails. So I was like, Mel, I think I want to do something different. And the cool is the top of the legs of the table are all National Treasures boxes, because so much, you saw in card shops, they just sit around and you're like, they're cool, but you don't want them away, but I don't know what to do with these. And then the top of the table is actually the floor from Kentucky's practice center. This huge, crazy complex that you've been to with me. So you pull the cards from the boxes of the players that played on this floor, which just makes it just like, it's nothing big. It's just, why not? Like, let's do it. So, and then I'm a huge Braves fan. So you got a Fulton County Stadium chair that I grew up going to, the bench chairs from the Final Four. Like, I have a guy, my dear friend, Jason Earlywine, that built this. All this is he builds fences for farms in Kentucky, his company.
Very cool.
Well, I said, can you just do me a section of the farm fence that you see, iconic Kentucky farm fence, and I'm just going to use it as shelves.
I saw a lot of those on the way up here.
A lot of this. There's no short. Like a bourbon barrel. Like, let's go get some stuff that makes it feel like even the walls here are meant to feel like a Kentucky barn. Like, that's all. None of this stuff was in here when we bought the place. But I want it to feel like cozy Kentucky iconic stuff.
So what about the, I guess we should talk about this because some people have probably seen it. What about the floor? Because the flooring is, I think, one of the coolest parts about this place.
I love this thing so much. So in 2001, when I worked for UK, I worked for Tubby and was the academic counselor for the team. They did an auction. They auctioned off the Rupp Arena floor, all of it. And they auctioned off the baseline and center court and the coaches' boxes and all that. 2001, not a time Jimmy could afford a piece of the Kentucky floor. But the guy that bought this had it sitting in a barn, and if you don't really realize it, but these are 8-foot pieces by 4 feet, and you can't really display it in your home unless you got a monster home. So when I found out the guy who did it, and I offered to buy it from him, and through a connection, a great friend of mine, Will, and luckily he sold it, and it was like, let's make that the floor of the shop. So you always walk in on history. So Rupp Arena opened in '76. They sold this in 2001. So you're looking at the '78 championship, the '96 championship, and the '98 championship. It's been repainted plenty of times, but even down there you can see it's still got the tape on the floor for the local newspaper, the media, reserved, all that. So you got 3 national championships on this. Not only that, but so you got all the Kentucky guys that played on it, but you got David Robinson played on this floor for Navy. Shaq, like all the guys that up to 2001 played on this floor, and not just against Kentucky, but they used to do, and they still do sometimes, like regionals here. So the Fab Five played on this. Cool. Like, that's awesome, and people come in all the time and get pictures and all that stuff. So it's cool every day to walk in.
Yeah, just we talked about it when I was opening up my new shop. Just it's one of those things that is just unique and just makes it special.
That's right, because the whole goal, which you do too, is I wanted this to be a destination shop. Like, I would drive to your shop from Carolina or Kentucky. I would drive to Andy or the RBI's. Like, we're the best shops, and I'll get in the car and go. So you think about original card shops, kind of 1.0, there's stuff everywhere. And a lot of it kind of always felt to me was like, buy your stuff and leave.
Yeah, very transactional.
Right?
Yeah.
I want transformational, like where you're learning something, you want to hang out. If you don't buy anything, that's great. Come in and sit down and tell stories for an hour and a half. And we got guys that do that, they got the best stories ever. Oscar Combs, he is the GOAT. He did a radio show here and all this stuff, and he just comes in and hangs out. It's like, we want you to chill. We'll make money fine if we treat people right. Let's have the space to like do events and treat people right. So
before we go on to some of the cooler memorabilia stuff, I think all of the card collectors in the back are wondering about some of the cards. So
yeah.
If you've followed any of Jimmy's pages on Instagram over the years, Kentucky Basketball Cards is where we started. You'll know Jimmy's got some very cool stuff, and a lot of them are on display in the shop, and a lot of these ones out, I believe, are for sale.
Yes, right? These are all for sale.
Right, so a lot of different stuff, ranging from football, basketball, you've got UFC, a little bit of everything. And the cool thing about Jimmy's shop, what I think is very unique, is you can actually come in and they've got iPads available where you can search for any of these cards as well as additional inventory on their website through the iPad. So you come in and you see this nice Van Jefferson NT patch auto at a 25, a guy that seems to frequent our breaks. And you can come in here and you can search Van Jefferson, and it will not only pull up this Van Jefferson, but all of the Van Jefferson they would have for sale online, which they have access to here in store. So I think that's kind of a unique piece that, like you said with COVID, right, it just kept people from having to touch every single card and would allow them to look up not only that one Van Jefferson, but everything.
It was really, and it's great because you can't, no matter how big your shop is, eventually, if it's too big, that's a problem. But you can't display everything.
Sure.
It's like you type in Zion, like yeah, you'll see some big ones, but we got another 15 in the back, 20 in the back, and we can go get it and you can look at it and go over it. Sure. But that way we can kind of maximize our space.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so we've got to move on to, I think, there's so many cool things in here, it's hard to keep track of it all, but this is stuff that you can't even find in museums, stuff I think is just wild, especially if you're a UK guy. I know that's Jimmy's pride and joy, kind of like Ohio State for me, but Jimmy, tell us a little bit about what's in here. I know we could spend a whole day on this.
I'll just pick a couple of favorites, but we've got a couple of things that aren't Kentucky guys for sale that we get through connections, but mainly this is kind of the museum of my life and being able to pick up different things along the way and people I've known. Everything from like the locker room tag for De'Aaron Fox at the SEC tournament to jerseys and shorts and like Julius Randle's Knicks game worn shirt, things like that all over the place. Tyler Hero game worn shoes, and then right in the middle of that is a watch from the 1958 team that won a national title.
Very cool.
And it says it on the back. It's really cool. I would say though, one of my favorite things amidst all of this.
This is my favorite piece in the entire class.
I think this is amazing. So this is a game worn Tayshaun Prince Olympic jersey. And I love this so much. One, because I know Tay and he's the nicest guy in the world. And then, gold. How many friends do you have that win a gold medal in playing the Olympics, much less 08. So this is a redeem team with Kobe and LeBron and all of them. And then one of my favorite parts of this is the tag, which you can see it's got games of the Olympiad and United We Rise. And it's got all the migrate authentication and all that. But the laser cut, and then Tay signed it for me one time when I was with him watching a game. And like, just that to me is amazing.
Yeah, very, very cool.
And there's great, like, hero game worn. It's pretty cool to see the stuff over the years and how it's changed. Quickly game worn, who has been blowing up. I really like this one for Kentucky fans. That, ironically, so that's from the 96, that's Antoine Walker. And Game Used actually got this at the National, not through a connection here, to the auction. And this was used against UMass in the 96 Final Four, which is the first Final Four I ever went to. And they beat John Calipari and UMass in that game. And it was one of the only teams that had beaten us that year. But there's some crazy stuff like
Devin Booker signed game worn, and this is unique because it was only worn on the Bahamas trip that year. Like, just stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Really unique, fun stuff. But John Wall game worn, he only wore those in the game that LeBron came to at UK to introduce the LeBron 7s, which were my favorite, and so got these.
Very cool.
So just fun stuff all over the place that we'll take time out and come over here when people want to look, fans, and it's like, yeah, come check it out. Like, get a picture with it. Like, it's all, I can't tell you how many people try to buy this stuff from me. I'm like, not for sale. But
we could spend all day talking about the cool pieces in there.
Kill the non-Kentucky fans. They'd be like, that's enough.
All right. So another thing I think is really cool, I know I talked about getting one of these in my house. Maximum hang time, little NBA Jam action in the shop, can come in and play.
Which happens all the time.
This is popular?
All the time. Kids, dads and sons, like, you wouldn't believe how many. And I got my, careful, this is older than Vince Carter's rookie card up here. Like, this is...
What year is this?
This is 97.
So 97 NBA Jam.
So it's got, like Pippen's on it. Jordan, of course, can never be on it. But, like, Sean Kemp, like, yeah, there he is. Like, it is... Ray Allen is dirty on this. Like there are some guys on here that are just awesome, but people come in all the time and play. All the time. And it costs more to ship it than it did to buy it. I can tell you that.
That's awesome. All right, so moving on, again, more card stuff for sale, single cards, baseballs, supplies, which we all know.
Oh, yeah. That's real fun to get.
Pretty hard to get at the moment. So
this hung up at the Final Four, actually.
When would that have been?
So that's 2012. That's Anthony Davis' year, and this is in New Orleans. And so we were the South Regional champions. So this was from my buddy Will that got it for me, that hung up in the arena in New Orleans,
Very
in
cool.
the Superdome.
Then some more supplies. Can't ever have too many of those. And then it looks like as we transition to this corner, a lot more. What are these all, like Final Four type chairs?
So this one was at Rupp Arena, more Final Fours. There's 96, the one I went to, 2015. There's an SEC tournament chair, like all of it, like locker room tags of Hami and Knox, different things like that. Then, Tiger, that was carried behind him at the U.S. Open. But when I was a teacher in Pinehurst and a student got it for me.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool.
And I think we'd be remiss in not talk about this corner, because this is one thing, you and I talked a lot about, is Card Shop 1.0 really was very transactional, come in, unorganized, get your stuff and go. But this is really like, I know I try to do this in my shop too. Come at, like you said, if you don't spend any money, that's okay. Come in, look at some cards, hang out, tell a story, right?
Totally.
It's meant to be very welcoming and open, not very transactional, and I think this is really what you're going for.
From the start, where it's like the Women of Sports Cards group we do, for all the girls that collect, they meet here. We had a huge deal for a LeBron Exquisite happen here. We have kids every day trade and chill here. Fathers and sons will open, like Rich came down from Milwaukee with his son. They just did a case of Allen again, or did the whole set and had a big, great, fun time here. Like, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yep, it's awesome. I think it turns out great, and it's exactly what you want in a card store.
Totally.
So I think we've got to go on to this next, because again, if you've seen our card shop, our Building a Card Shop documentary, I mentioned this 5 or 6 times in each episode, it feels like. But this is where I got the idea for really the card bar. Jimmy and Mel built this, and I fell in love with it when I bought mine and thought we've got to have something similar to this. So this is where we got the idea. So Jimmy, I'll let you kind of give an idea of where the idea came from.
Well, it's all about building the better mousetrap, right? You go into card shops and it's like can I look down here on the glass case and like get on my knees and try, like, let's raise it up, make it closer. And these all open up this way towards us, so it makes it really difficult to actually take anything if you're a thief. But the goal was, I actually saw the first version of this I saw when I was a kid in Topps magazine, something that's long gone. But Don Mattingly has a restaurant and bar in Indiana where he grew up that had a bar with glass and all cards, like just randomly all around it. I was like, that is awesome. One day I'm gonna do this. And I did it at my house with the entire 1953 Topps set that you remember, and I was like, it's just gorgeous. And then it's like, we gotta do this for the card shop. I was like, what would I want if I was opening cards at the shop? I'd like to have cool cards I can look at and buy. I'd like to have something to sort it with, like if I'm just doing base and opening packs. Like, what can I do that makes it look cooler and easier? And now we know Mel built it, and he's, like I said, he's the GOAT with that stuff. But I adore this thing, and I think I'll always have one wherever I go.
Yeah, I think it's I fell in love with it, like I said, when I came down, and I just think the ability to open cards and still get use out of it, still see cards, just have a place to sit and talk while also looking at it.
And it's like the kind of like a bar. Like, sit up, talk, tell me what you're doing, what you're collecting, pull up a stool, hang out. And it's built to be that.
Absolutely. Can't forget Wax. Have a wide variety of different products, a lot of newer releases, soccer, basketball, Star Wars, Pokemon. It's one thing I try to do as well, is just have a lot of different things, so that when somebody comes in and they say, hey, do you have Pokemon? Do you have baseball? Do you have basketball? Whatever it is, you can say yes.
Well, it goes to a little bit like with the retail stuff and all the issues with that. Like, do we have things that we can have packed out for kids that they can afford? Yes. Do we have something, guys like me 5 years ago, and I'm coming, I want to buy like Flawless, like, yes, we'll have that. The whole goal, the whole mission of this place is to elevate the hobby. To elevate the hobby in any way possible, you've got to have a wide variety. You've got to make it easy. You've got to have places for people to be. That is our mission statement, if there is one for us, is that. Elevate the hobby. The rest of the money will take care of itself. The customers will take care of itself if that's what you do. So that's why we want F1 to basketball. I'm not worried about basketball selling here, but whatever interest you have, is there an option for you here? And That's why.
Very cool. Yeah, so as you guys can see, this has everything and then some for card stores. This is really where I took so many different ideas out of here to try to build into my own, right? You got Michael Jordan signed pictures to card bars to all these different products to memorabilia that tells your story as a collector and as someone that's been a part of the hobby for so long. So can't thank you enough for allowing us in here to show the world this. This is great.
Always. You always got a spot at the table here.
Appreciate it. So make sure you guys check them out, IG and YouTube at Kentucky Roadshow Shop, and you can follow Jimmy on Instagram as well at Kentucky Basketball Cards. But for now, guys, that's all I got. Peace.